Welcome to the NBA Clinic. Here, hosts Jonathan Kurian and Sterling Mitchell take a deep dive and diagnose the current status on individual NBA teams. Caution, takes from here on will be hot, focused on championships and based on a gym rat mentality. If you are not about that shit, go turn on ESPN.
I'm as real as they come, they feel it get numb. You think you got a little buzz, so now you can't get stung. I keep a razor blade tucked on me under my tongue. Don't let me have to tell these niggas about the city I'm from. It's Brooklyn, be the home of the hardest ever. Where them niggas don't aim, they just palm Berettas and bomb whatever. So we don't move calmly, never. This for my niggas trapped in cells like salmonella. Look.
What's good, everybody? This is the NBA Clinic. I'm back here, Jonathan Kurian.
And I'm Sterling Mitchell.
We're almost done. It's almost playoff time, baby. I'm so excited. We only got 2 teams left, and I really don't know how this happened. I didn't mean to consciously do it, but we got 2 teams left, and the only 2 teams we got left are both from New York. So today we are going to be talking about the Brooklyn Nets, and after we're done talking about the Brooklyn Nets, you should already know what's coming next.
Yeah, unfortunately with this team, there's just not that much to talk about.
Yeah, Sterling, you bring up a very good point here. So because there isn't much to talk about, we thought we were going to switch up the format of what we do on this podcast and really cut down on the past and present section and just jump straight into a whole podcast of nothing but the future. It's really going to just be more of a fantasy for both Sterling and I, in that we are going to try to build a whole franchise from the ground up. And we're going to use the Brooklyn Nets as an example for that. Also, we here at the NBA Clinic don't like to fucking lie to you people. You know, we try to do our best, watch as many basketball games as we can. Not everybody's a winner, you know? Not everybody can get all of our focus. And frankly, Sterling and I, we're trying to do some research on this podcast, try to have a conversation, have some dialogue to prepare ourselves for this. And frankly, both of us did not watch enough Nets games to be comfortable enough to talk about this whole roster, especially on how they play on the floor, how their coaching is. We felt that we didn't know enough plays or schemes, or to see how the players interact with each other both on and off the court to feel comfortable enough to make a decision to talk about the present the whole time. And guess what? We're not like most of these reporters that are just going to half-ass some comments, give you some hot takes because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. We're going to tell you the truth and be honest. You weren't watching the Nets either. Let's be frank. We all tried. There was some moments, you know, they were a very competitive team. We got to give them credit for what they've done this season. Every time I've seen them on the court, they were competing.
Like Johnny said, they've been a competitive team all year. They've never really got blown out. Yeah, it's happened a few times, but even against some of the elite teams, like they only losing to the Warriors by like 13. They only lost to the Cavs by 6 and 7 the last 2 times they played them. So like they're making these games competitive, and they're actually coming down to the last quarter.
Yeah, and because of that competitive edge, we want to see this franchise do really well. But just because it's had such a bad history of fucking it up, we decided to not lie to y'all and try to go through this present section, but rather just do something radically different and just kickstart this podcast with nothing but the fucking future. Because guess what? It's 2018 and we're going in the future. Fucking artificial intelligence is about to be a thing. Autonomous cars. And guess what? The Brooklyn Nets are also about to be popping. Welcome to the fucking future. Let's get it. So, before we jump in to talking about what we would like to do if we were the owners of the Brooklyn Nets as a franchise, we're going to come in and talk about the contracts super quick, just so y'all are educated on the moves that we're trying to make and with the contracts that we have given to us presently. So, starting off, we got Allen Crabbe coming in for 3 years left on his contract, $37.8 million guaranteed. He is the highest paid player on this team as of right now at the age of 26. After that, we got Timofey Mozgov coming in with 3 years left on his contract for a guaranteed $48 million. After that, we have the well-known veteran DeMarre Carroll coming in 2 years, $30.2 million guaranteed dollars at the age of 31. Timofey Mozgov also, by the way, is 31 years old. Next, we got Jeremy Lin coming in at the age of 29 with 2 years left on his contract for $24.5 million. Soon after that, we got D'Angelo Russell coming in with 1 year at $5.5 million this season and then a team option of $7 million next year, still on his first round pick contract. After that, we got Duke legend, probably Sterling's favorite guy, probably has a poster of him sneaking up somewhere in his room. Duke legend, Jahlil Okafor, 1 year left on his first round contract at the age of 22 for $5 million. It's 4.99, but I'm going to round it up to 5. After that, we got Nick Stauskas, you feel me? with $3.8 million left. He's also on his expiring year of his first round pick contract. Then after that, I'm just going to name some names that you might know before we jump into like the young talent section. I would say that's like the hopeful pieces. Dante Cunningham, Jarrett Allen's on this team. Quincy Acey, former Knicks, shouts out him. Carlos LeVert, Joe Harris. And then the two young talents that I want to highlight that a lot of people who don't watch the NBA should pay attention to is Spencer Dinwiddie. He has $3.1 million guaranteed on his contract over the next 2 years. And then the other talent that I wanted to shout out real quick was Rondé Haas-Jefferson coming in on his first round pick contract for $1.4 million this year, and then a team option of $2.4 million the next year. So that's pretty much the whole roster, at least most of the players that probably matter in the Nets' mind. Now that y'all know the contracts and y'all know the players on this team, Sterling Mitchell and I are going to pretty much start from scratch. We're going to choose our own GM, we're going to choose our own coach, and we're going to pretty much see what we can do by building this franchise up from the ground.
All right. Do you want to take the lead or should I?
Go ahead.
All right. Well, in my first move in acquiring this team, I'm going to need to make a lot of changes. Being the new owner of this team, my first move that I think I'm going to make would have to be changing this front office. There have been too many mistakes. We clearly are not seeing progress. It's been years since we were good. The last time we were good is when we were the New Jersey Nets. We need to change the philosophy of this team. So I'm making a splash. I'm hiring John Calipari as the head coach of this team.
Crazy, dude. Calipari. I mean, he already had one try in the NBA and didn't do that well. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm saying everybody deserves a second chance. We've seen what he was able to do with that Kentucky team this year and being able to develop that team throughout the year and get the most out of them when it counted the most. And I believe that he's a great recruiter and can recruit people to this city and to play for him, especially being in Brooklyn, a very historical city in the United States, a very vibrant city on the come up, like area in New York on the come up, even though it is being gentrified. But it's a great place that people will come to play. We got hella money. We got a rush. Oh wait, am I the owner? Is the Russian guy gone?
Nah,
we still got hella money.
He still owns it. He still owns the team.
All right, we still got our Russian guy with all the money. So we're not worried about money. We got a head coach who knows how to bring a conglomerate of talent together and get them to play at their best. That's my first move as the new director of this team. Should we just say president?
Yeah, I guess say just president. You the president.
All right, yeah, that's my first move as the president. And then I'm going to need a great GM. I'm going to look at what I think to be one of the best front offices in the whole NBA, as in the Celtics. And I'm going to look at Danny Ainge's right-hand man and throw the bag at my man Mike Zarin. He's the analytics guy for the Celtics. He's the dude crunching all the numbers. He's the dude who's running the cap, clearly knows what he's doing, and he has a great mentor teaching him everything. And in today's NBA, analytics is clearly winning games. I believe if I throw a big enough bag, he'll definitely come.
So Sterling, I gotta admit, that's a pretty interesting combination that you chose there for that GM coach pair. Individually, both of them make a lot of sense, but how do you feel like John Calipari and Mike Zarin would work in creating a team? Like, what do you think a John Calipari and Mike Zarin basketball team would look like?
I'm going to get the best of both worlds. We got a number cruncher and we got a guy who can put talent together to get the best possible result out of it. So in John Calipari, I got a coach who knows a good deal of NBA players. He's now put in a great market to attract players in Brooklyn. So he can use his influence over the league to be able to attract quality players while we have Mike Zarin behind the scenes crunching the analytics, seeing how all these players will fit together and giving his advice on what he thinks and who Calipari should go after exactly in order to create the best team possible.
I could definitely see that. Like you mentioned, Calipari's recruiting is already really well known, and since we're starting from scratch, we're probably, after this year, going to be able to have a lot of our first round draft picks. So to see who Calipari would choose would actually be pretty useful, in that it would be recruiting if it's high enough. Because let's be frank, we probably going to be tanking for a little while. So with high draft picks, I feel like Calipari could actually do something useful with that. Furthermore, a question that I want to ask you is, out of all the former Wildcats that you would see Calipari try to get back, who do you think would come here? Like a free
I think
agent?
we could get Boogie.
Oh, you think they're going to get Boogie?
I think it would be possible to get Boogie.
You think Boogie wants to leave Nola, though?
But who would Boogie play the hardest for?
Yeah, you're right. Honestly, you might be onto something. I'll even take it a step further. I bet you could get that John Wall Boogie Cousins reunion happen. Because the Wizards right now, yo, something's up, bro.
That is true.
Something's up with the Wizards. I feel like either Bradley Beal or John Wall has to go, just for the sake of the organization. Both of those players are dope individually, and they've made noise together as a duo, but you could just tell mentally, I think it's a split locker room right now, and I feel like one of them two players got to shake, and if I'm getting the opportunity, bruh, I'm trying to get John Wall.
That would be amazing to be able to get that reunion again. That's actually like, now I think about it, that's what I want to do. I want to go get John Calipari, get the John Wall, Boogie Cousins reunion happening.
Okay, well, Boogie would come there as a free agent because his contract's expiring next year, but John Wall just signed that crazy Supermax. So you would have to trade with the Wizards.
I believe I could get it done. I got the analytics guru who just happened to be the trade guru assistant. Danny Ainge is one of the best traders, in my opinion, ever in the NBA.
What do you think a fair trade would be for John Wall if you were the Brooklyn Nets? Like, given the current roster and given you have all of your draft picks for the future, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but let's just assume for right now you have all of your first and second round draft picks moving into the future. What would you do? Because you can sign Boogie straight up, but John Wall you got to trade for. And he has a super max.
2019 first round definitely has to be thrown in there. I'm throwing D'Angelo Russell. Give him a scoring point guard. And if the Wizards are really looking forward to getting rid of him and trying to make the cap space work, I'm going to have to throw in Timothy Mozgov and maybe DeMarre Carroll too.
Yeah, I think, would that be a fair trade though? Do you think that's fair, like from the Wizards side?
They're getting a first round, D'Angelo Russell. Yeah, 2 31-year-old players. It's going to be rough.
I feel like a more fair version of that deal would be like to keep most of what you have. I feel like you would have to trade DeMarre Carroll, Spencer Dinwiddie, first round draft pick, and D'Angelo Russell for John Wall. I feel like that's more fair. I feel like Bradley Beal, I don't think can lead the team, but he's really good playing with a good point guard. And I feel like D'Angelo Russell would become that because he's so young. Like I feel like a backcourt with D'Angelo Russell and Bradley Beal would be fucking interesting and would be able to make just as much noise. So you definitely want to do that. And then you're still going to be in the playoffs. Because like even without John Wall, like the Wizards would be in the playoffs right now. They'd just be a lower seed, but I believe they'd be in the playoffs. And
that also gives their backcourt more shooting.
It does. You're definitely right about that. And also DeMarre Carroll is a great basketball player. Like he's a playoff veteran. So you'd get that piece back, which would be useful. And Spencer Dinwiddie, like having the season that he's had, I think that's pretty good. I think that's doable. So I could see that happening.
Yeah, so I still have young talent in Jahlil Okafor, Jared Allen, Chris LeVert's on the team. I know you didn't mention him. I know you just glossed over him. He's still a work in progress, in my opinion, because the scouts say he had much upside to him. I'm going to try to see if I can do something with him. But if not, I'm sorry, I'm getting rid of Timothy Mozgov. I'm going to transition Alan Crabb to the bench because I want him to be my sixth man. I definitely think his role as a sixth man, as in like a Lou Williams or Eric Gordon, he'll come off the bench and he will get you buckets. So I'm definitely holding on to him. Jeremy Lin, solid NBA player. I feel sorry for him being on the teams he's been on. I'm going to let him go after his 2 years are up. Well, actually, only really has one more year since this season is over, really. Nick Stauskas, I'm letting go. Dante Cunningham, I'm letting go. This roster it's going to be a complete roster flip. Most of this roster, I'm going to have to let go. They're either young and haven't proven themselves, or they're just not going to be up to the standards that I need in order to turn this team around and just become a playoffs contender.
Yeah, Sterling just noted a really good point here that we should inform the audience for those who obviously do not remember the whole payroll off of the top of their head. There are 8 players this year that are expiring, and then there are an extra 3 on top of that who have team options. So the team can choose if they want to come back next season. Like Sterling said, the season is pretty much over, which means that theoretically speaking, you could only have 5 guys on the current Nets roster come back this season if they chose to decline all the players on their current roster. However, One of those players was Damari Carroll, and Damari Carroll just got traded. So that brings it all the way down to 4. So there's 4 players that would theoretically be left based off of what Sterling was saying. It would be Alan Crabb, Timofey Mozgov, Jeremy Lin, Jarrett Allen, and Isaiah Whitehead, because we traded Spencer Dinwiddie as well. So I'm looking at one guy who's really, really cheap, who's like pretty much a 14th or 15th man, and then 3 starters left. When I say starters, I mean starting talent players in Alan Crabb, Timofey Mozgov, and Jeremy Lin. So that's it. Only 4 players. You really can have an empty roster next year with this Brooklyn Nets team, which is why I think this was such an interesting podcast to make.
Yeah, now I'm really enjoying the amount of cap space I got to be able to go out and recruit the players. And with the head coach and the GM crunching the numbers, I believe we could create a much reformed roster that will be able to actually compete in the East next year. And especially if we're able to get Boogie Cousins, make that trade for John Wall. I'm going to go out. I'm going to look for a solid power forward. You say, example would be somebody like, I'm saying like maybe even Bobby Portis. Oh, snap. I forgot, what's his name as a free agent? Klay Thompson.
I don't think Clay's leaving the Warriors, though. That'd be dope. But
yeah, imagine that, though. John Wall, Klay Thompson, and Boogie Cousins.
That'd be insane. But you'd also have no cap space at that point.
True. New Orleans Noel, unrestricted free agent.
That's it. You could get him for the cheap.
That's true.
Get another Kentucky boy in there. Hell yeah.
Exactly. That kind of worked out perfect.
Oh,
I'm mad I'm kind of making a Kentucky team, but as far as talent goes, we got some nice pieces.
Okay, I see you.
We need a guard to play with John Wall. There's a perfect one out there that's going to be an unrestricted free agent in 2018. We could probably grab him from the cheap. He plays defense. He shoots the 3, and that's Avery Bradley.
Ooh, yo. Avery Bradley, John Wall backcourt. GM knows Avery Bradley's dope because he probably helped get him on the Celtics roster. Mike Zarin knows if Avery Bradley's going to be about his shit or not.
So right now, as the current team stands, with all their trades and stuff, we're looking at a starting lineup of John Wall, Avery Bradley, New Orleans Noel, Boogie Cousins. Hopefully, Rondé House Jefferson has put in work over the offseason and improved his game for us to pick up that option and put him at the small forward position.
That's a squad. That's a nice squad. That's a nice, interesting squad. And luckily, because you only chose to get 2 max players and still save that 3rd spot, you still have a healthy amount of cap space moving forward.
And then on the bench, we got Alan Crabb, Jeremy Lin, Jarrett Allen. Hopefully, these players have been developing their skills. I definitely think Jahlil Okafor, only being 22, he still has room to improve. Jarrett Allen is very young at 19 years old. He has much room to improve. He only has the upside. He has incredible athletic skill. We just need to see him develop the physical skills. We already know Jeremy Lin has proven that he can be a very solid player in the NBA. And then Alan Crabb being my 6th man coming off the bench.
Damn, that's nice. All right, that's going to be tough to top, but I'm going to try to tell y'all about my franchise build. So we're going to start it all the way back with hiring the head coach. For me, I too would choose a college coach, but it wouldn't be Calipari. If I am the president of basketball operations for this team, I'm going to try to keep it on the East Coast. I'm going to try to get a legend around the East Coast. Just got himself a chip. Y'all already know what I'm talking about if y'all pay attention to the NCAA. Jay Wright is the next head coach of the Brooklyn Nets if I have it my way. I think what he brings in terms of a college system fits perfectly in the NBA. The spacing on the floor, use of brush screens, getting the most out of players and choosing to actually invest in them and develop with them instead of having to be constrained to the notion of just one and dones. Jay Wright has never been a coach about that. He develops his players properly. And for me, I believe that the Nets are going to be at least tanking for another year or 2 just so Jay Wright can have a decision in understanding our drafting process, the way our offense is supposed to look, the way our team is supposed to look like. I'm not going to go for an immediate build the same way that Sterling is, even though I do have all of that cap space. I'm going to play it a little bit more conservative, let Jay Wright come in and kind of have more of a advisory role on the GM front and also be able to coach coach this team well so everybody can be working together and there can be real cohesion from the whole organization all the way from the top down, the GM to the coach. Because that's important. Having a coach and a GM on the same page is very, very important for an organization to succeed. And with that being said, since I will be tanking at least for another year or two, I need somebody who understands what to do with high draft picks, how to look at talent, how to get high draft picks. There's only one man for the job. He's known very well on the East Coast as well, but for different reasons. Sam Hinkie. Sam fucking Hinkie. That's right. I said it. You know what I'm saying? I don't regret it. Both out of Philadelphia. They both Pennsylvania boys. You feel me? It's not going to be hard to convince them to come out to Brooklyn. It's only an hour and a half drive. Probably, okay, I'll be honest, like maybe like 2 hours, 15 minutes. Like we said from before, this team is owned by a Russian oligarch, aka Putin's money boys. You feel me? So we got billies to roll with. Yo, do you want a bear to escort you from room to room? Everywhere you fucking go, we can arrange that. Do you want a chopper that'll pick you up from your house in Philadelphia or wherever the fuck you live in Pennsylvania and personally land you at the Barclays Center every day? We can do that. Do you want 50 Melania Trumps just to be there? Like not even anything on some sexual shit, just because there's an abundance of Melania Trumps that we can just make. We'll do that too. We're Russian oligarchs. We can do whatever the fuck we want. Scary, but true. So, because of that, I feel like there's going to be no problems being able to get both Jay Wright and Sam Hinkie on this page. And through that, we will tank together for 2 sweet years. But we still also got to sell tickets. So, you know what? I'm picking up that team option with D'Angelo Russell, and I'm just going to let him take fucking 50 points. Go ahead, be Kobe. That's what you wanted to be when you were on the Lakers anyways. Just go fucking do it. Have fun. Enjoy yourself. Have a great time. Just let the kid have fun. And I'm going to let that wait out. And I'm going to just literally keep this team to be the same team next year. And I'm going to just wait until we get our draft picks. And then after that, damn near everybody comes off the books. The only 2 people that I would have left is Alan Crabb, if he chooses to take his player option of $18.5 million. And then Timofey Mozgov, who will be on his expiring year in 2019-2020. For $16.7 million. At this point, I expect a top 5 draft pick. And I expect Sam Hinkie to get us that. And I expect Sam Hinkie to get the right one, along with Jay Wright being an advisor to him, because we're trying to build a system here of space and pace.
So what?
Go ahead.
What makes Jay Wright so attractive to you as an NBA coach?
I think the way that Villanova plays basketball, especially like the way that Jay Wright uses like brush screens, the way that he's able to actually like get all of his players to be all around talents. Their guards rebound, their forwards can space the floor, everybody can shoot relatively well. They're very communicative on defense. I just want to see that for Brooklyn. I don't think they've ever had that, and I think that the schemes that Jay Wright draws up and teaches his players would actually transfer extremely well into the NBA. Jay Wright's always been a guy who wants to invest in a core, and that's what I also want to do as the president of the Brooklyn Nets. So I feel like both of us can do that, but on a professional level. You still, I wouldn't say get the same benefits that you would as a college coach, but this would be the closest thing of still having that college experience in the NBA right now. And I would just like to see him and Sam Hinkie be able to choose the right people for at least next year, possibly the 2019-2020 season, and just recruit the right pieces. And I know that's vague, but I feel like something good will come from that, because either we'll have ridiculously good assets because we've chosen the lottery for 2 years. And then also people will want to come play in Brooklyn at that point. And then from there, I'm making sure that in the 2020-21 season, I got free range on whoever I want. Let's look this up, shall we?
I will agree with you in that I do believe that Jay Wright's coaching ability would transfer to the NBA pretty well. He always seems to get the best out of his players, and they always play together. It's not just 1 or 2 man team. Like, he always has those 1 or 2 stars that when the game gets down to the wire, you need one person to put the ball in his hands, they'll get you a bucket. But overall, the way they play is a very team-oriented system, kind of like I would actually compare it to like the Spurs in the way they play, and they're always tough on defense, and everybody gets the shot, and they're always trying to find the best shot for the right person.
It's funny that you mentioned the Spurs there, because the number one person that I would recruit and would most likely, I believe, get in the 2020 summer is Kawhi Leonard.
That'd be a very good pickup.
Here's the reason why I believe I can get Kawhi Leonard. We've heard all the rumblings out of the Spurs. Kawhi Leonard right now is trying to negotiate a deal for him to get paid more by Team Jordan, and they only want to offer him $25 million over the next 5 years. Now, the casual listener is probably like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. $25 million, 5 years for a shoe deal. You got to look at what the market gives you. Kevin Durant signed the same length of a contract, 5 years, ended up getting paid $300 million. Now listen, Kevin Durant's a great player. Everybody knows him. But Kawhi Leonard is up there. Both of them are always in MVP contention. Yet $25 million does not equal up to Kevin Durant's $300 million. If you do the math, that would mean financially speaking, Kawhi Leonard would equal 1/12 of the player that Kevin Durant is. He's clearly getting screwed over. You want to know why Jordan gave him that contract? Because he plays in San Antonio. Because apparently he doesn't have his own brand or personality. You want to know why he doesn't have his own personality? It might be because that's who he chooses to be. But I would also make the argument that the Spurs never allow you to be yourself. It's all about the team. It's about being very militaristic. It's about staying in line and doing what you're supposed to get a championship. So a lot of people respect them because each one of the individual players have to make so many sacrifices for the greater good. But sometimes, at what point does that become enough? In Kawhi Leonard's case, you're going from absolutely nothing to everything. You will be the king of New York. The Knicks aren't going to have their shit together by then. I'm telling you as a Knicks fan, they're not. They're fucked. You'll see in the next podcast. You'll know how fucked they are. So you will be the king of New York. I will guarantee you that. You come here, you won't have to worry about getting your money's worth. You won't have to worry about getting recognition. And you're still going to play in a great system with a coach that will play you very similarly to how Coach Popovich did. And you will be the man, and you will be praised. So I'm getting Kawhi. I'm getting Kawhi in 2020.
I really enjoy that. I like that. I think that's a very good move.
Now that I have Kawhi, I'm definitely trying to make a trade. Now listen, it's very difficult to talk about trades given how far we're out. So I'm going to just only refer to what we know of guaranteed contracts at the time. And ask the question that hopefully the audience is thinking as well. Who would Kawhi Leonard be really, really good playing with? I would say it would be a very good stretch four. Kind of had sparks of that with Tim Duncan, but I'm talking about a stretch forward that can really, really score the ball and really get his respect. And with this being said, I am trying to redeem and get vindication for what the Brooklyn Nets lost last summer. This is going to be a 2-for-1 thing. You get vindication for what you lost, and you're going to get a great talent back because he's a great talent. I am trading for Kyle Kuzma off of the Los Angeles Lakers.
That'd be a blockbuster trade.
They can't afford him. The Lakers will not be able to afford to re-sign Kyle Kuzma. And by that time, he's going to be thinking about his next contract. They will not be able to afford Kyle Kuzma at that point, because the Lakers most likely within the next 2 seasons will get 2 max free agent players. Then they have to re-sign Lonzo Ball and Brandon Ingram. There's not enough money to go around for Kyle Kuzma. He will get left out. So because of that, I will get Kyle Kuzma and I will give him the money that he deserves.
I like it. I mean, he is going to be a star in this league. He's already shown that he has the talent to easily be an all-star in the next 4 years. And him and Kawhi playing together it'd be ridiculous.
Which is awesome, because guess what? We have Kawhi Leonard being the veteran leader of our team. We have Kyle Kuzma being the middle generational guy. And then we have 2 to maybe 3. I don't know how many assets Sam Hinkie can get us, but Sam Hinkie's known to get a fuck ton. I'm lowballing it by saying Sam Hinkie will get us 2 or 3 lottery draft picks within 2 years. He'll probably get us more, but I'll at least have 2 lottery draft picks for the next 2 years because they're my own draft picks. So I'll have high-flying talent from the guy who got Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. So I'll have 2 very, very good lottery picks. I'll have Kyle Kuzma. I'll have Kawhi Leonard. And then from there, we'll have enough evidence of the offense that Jay Wright will want to play that'll fucking figure it out from there. I can't tell you specific players yet. I don't know what that core is going to look like, but just because there's so much money left, they have free range to do whatever they want from that. I would have put the Nets in a way better position in 2 years from now than they would have been currently on the path that they're heading. Because you would have had Kawhi Leonard, you'd have Kyle Kuzma, you'd have Jay Wright, a phenomenal coach, and you would have 2 great lottery picks. That's enough to just make a potentially championship contending team. It has all the ingredients for it. Am I saying that's going to be a championship contender by 2020-21? No, but it'll have all the ingredients to become a championship contending team. That's the only thing I can do as the president of basketball operations.
I will just ask you one question. What type of point guard are you looking for? Because as we know in the NBA, that is definitely the most important position, is who is controlling the ball.
I'm going to tell you something. The player that I would try to look for, and this might shock you, I don't want him to be the superstar of this team. I want that to be Kawhi, and I want that to be Kyle. So The player that I would look for is somebody who's willing to share the ball and is willing to be the third option on the team as the point guard. Nobody's seen that done before, but a great example that I would think of that would fit something like this would be a more assist-heavy Mike Conley. Somebody who can play like that. Mike Conley, but with a little bit more assists.
I respect it. We're going back to a more older version of the NBA where you look for your point guard to facilitate more than score.
And the reason why I say that is because everybody else is going to be scoring. Everybody's eating on this team. That's the one thing I can guarantee you about the team that I've built. With Jay Wright being able to help recruit and develop all of these players along the way, and to have Sam Hinkie bring in 2 top 5 players over the next 2 years, everybody's about to eat. Everybody is about to eat. And I cannot stress enough the amount of cap space that we have left. So it's not like I'm going to be getting schmucks off of the floor. Like, I'm going to be getting NBA starting players 8 or 9 positions deep. So everybody's eating. And with that being said, man, that's pretty much the Brooklyn Nets for us. We got the future, and we hope the Brooklyn Nets actually do something as exciting as the stuff that we've mentioned, because they have a lot of opportunity here, and they could be a very, very great franchise coming up within 2 years. I mean, the future's really, really bright for these guys, but they got to figure out what the fuck they're doing, because right now they don't have it together.
Yeah, that's true. And we haven't said the future is bright for a good amount of these teams that have been at the bottom.
All right, with that being said, we out.
Peace.